Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Double honors be unto the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, whole foods, like that the not this word of thought, truth, and sincerity. To all you alchemists, say Shalom. I am the Akira. I am from the servants Yahweh, Yahushai Cam, coming in with the quick video going into a dream I had, which really was a series of dreams I had last night. But one of them being a dream about a T-Rex chasing me and some Eve, which that does sound pretty cartoony compared to all the, realistic like dreams I can be having about Jacob's trouble and whatnot. But this dream was very spiritual, man. Because, it all goes down to that Esau. You could break it down and filter it through scriptures. So this dream was very spiritual because what happened in that dream was that, I was on the ground level. Me and some Eve were running away. And, we come in the eye contact with an actual T-Rex. Some T-Rex that was just, hanging about. And he sees us and we start running into some skyscraper from the ground level. And we make our way up, climbing it each floor by floor by floor. And, the dreams are pretty, this is a dream, so dreams are pretty weird. And what happened was that this T-Rex managed to make its way through the lobby and have its weight, and have its weight be supported, through the structure. So he made his way up, floor by floor as well, trying to chase us and break down walls and try and basically, devour us. And, it was all going well. We were basically maneuvering, trying to escape, going floor by floor by floor, all the way to the tippity top until we got cornered by the T-Rex. And, there's no way we're going to jump down. So eventually what happened was that after we got cornered, the T-Rex, managed to, devour the Eve that was right next to me. And this was a very smart T-Rex. So what he did was, he spewed out the dismembered parts of the Eve and threw it at me. And I'm not going to go into detail, but basically try and kill me with the body parts, like the bones and whatnot. So fast forward, I maneuver, make my way, through the skyscraper all the way down to the ground floor, and I escape, and I'm completely fine, except for that one Eve. So that dream was very spiritual, and coming to think about it, a T-Rex is a lizard / serpent. All right, and who's that serpent? It's broken down in the scriptures. Esau, Edom, if you can receive it, the damn devil. And the proof that this is the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter, verse 1. And it says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand." Which, if you know the history, what basically happened was that that great chain ain't talking about an actual physical, visible chain, but an invisible chain. Because example would be, a spirit. You may have a slothful spirit. You're bound to play out that role, all right, of slothfulness, because you got demons on you, and you rebuke the demons and they flee. Hey, you're fine. All right, you're not gonna be slothful anymore. All right, so yeah, that great chain that bound up Esau. For the remainder of the Byzantine. That's why in verse 2 it says, "And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is a devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years." That's talking about Esau, Edom, because Satan, the physical counterpart of Satan, is Esau. He's a devil. That word devil means adversary, because he has a hatred against, Jacob, man. So that's going to Esau. That breaks down the point that old dragon, that old serpent, is really, Esau's really that T-Rex in my dream. That lizard. Another priest of the proof, that would be in the book of Psalms, the 58th chapter. If I can get that up, bear with me, Akim. In verse 3 it says, "The wicked are estranged from the womb," which we understand that the wicked is Esau, and that's proven in the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, verse 4, where it calls on the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord had indignation upon. I'm gonna get that actually, I can always say, teacher was, going back to the basics, basically, these milk scriptures. So the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, verse, 3, it says, and I hated Esau and lead his mountains and his heritage ways for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished. That word impoverished meaning made poor. We will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So, the Lord broke down the Roman Empire by destroying by through Septimus Severus, if I'm saying it right, which he was the one that, when it goes into that deadly wound, that was caused by Septimus Severus, if I'm mistaken. And the history around it. Yes, the Western Roman Empire, the western side of the Roman Empire fall, and the Eastern Roman Empire became the Byzantine, which was ruled by Jake for nearly 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, if I'm mistaken. Because that's in Revelation, the same chapter, if I'm mistaken. But going back to Psalms the 58th chapter, verse 3 says, the wicked, like the border of wickedness, same thing. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as they be born, speaking lies. And that's why you can't trust an Edomite, man. And as the scripture going to the Ecclesiasticus, for as iron rusteth, something like that. I don't want to butcher it. For like as iron rusted. I'm gonna get to that actually. Never trust thine enemy. All right, the book of Sirach, the 12th chapter, verse 10, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So the motto is, don't trust an Edomite. Inside joke right there. But verse 4, it says, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They're like the deaf adder that stoppeth their ear. The point right there was where it said their poison is like the poison of a serpent. So that's basically expounding on the point that Esau is that serpent. Which proves the fact that which we understand that Esau is the reincarnation of Cain, and Cain was a reincarnation of the serpent. So Esau's old incarnation was that serpent. As a matter of fact, you go back to Revelation 20, verse 2, where it goes into the serpent. You look into the blue letter, and the Greek, it's Salaki. All right, in the Greek, it's Ophis or Ophis. I'm gonna bring it out.
Strong's G 3789, Ophis. Ophis.
All right, so that Greek word is Ophis, and the L in the biblical usage points that with the ancients, the serpent was an emblem of cunning and wisdom, and Esau's a cunning, was known as a cunning hunter. So it goes on to say, the serpent who deceived Eve was regarded by the Jews as a devil, and we all know that devil is Esau, man. All right, so you already that's already broken down that T-Rex in my dream was really Esau, and he was chasing us. Hey, because the scripture is going to how the enemy shall come in like a flood. Which I remember the apostle Rhymelot made mention in one of his lives, breaking down Revelation. I believe it was the 17th chapter. He made the mention that the red dragon you read about, is really a conglomeration of Edomite nations. So likewise a T-Rex, going into a multitude of Edomites. So Esau's gonna come in hard with the super soldiers and things of that sort. So there's a book of Isaiah, the 59th chapter, verse 19, and it makes the mention. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. All right, and a flood. Look at the great flood of old. It literally just came out from from the sky, and it just completely destroyed everything. All right, and you look into that movie 2012, and what did you see? All right, you had the force of that water literally destroyed everything. And I don't know, I think this guy could be a chariot, but that is a chariot. Which can't see. I can't show you in the video. But basically, he goes on to say, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. So that enemy being Esau, Edom, because he's gonna come in hard against us, man. So like, remember what happened in the dream? that T-Rex was trying to kill us, man. And eventually he got to the Eve. And so he's basically going to come down with great, as a flood to slay Israelites left and right, man. And that's in the book of, because it's a time of trouble. So Jeremiah the 30th chapter, verse 7, it makes the mention, alas, which I'm mistaken, that word alas basically means woe. For that day is great. So that none is like, and that word woe basically means death and destruction. Upon who? The Israelites. To prove that, it says, for that day is great. So that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And who shall be saved out of it? If it's going to the trouble of Jacob, who's going to be saved out of it? The elect. All right, which obviously that Eve wasn't a part of the elect, because, that Eve, the Eve in my dream, I recognize her from the gym. So of course she's on this thing, this truth ain't meant for women. But it makes a mention. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, which won't be a freaking day. It's gonna be a period of time. A period of time which, could be X amount of days. We don't know. We have to wait for that to pass. So going on, it says, bear with me. For it shall come the... Oh, no, that's right, that's Salakia. Oh yeah, verse 5, it says, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace. And we were trembling, man. It was just me and that Eve. Nobody else was alive, around the radius. It was just me and her. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all fears are turned to paleness. All right, but it's crazy because in my dreams I always be praying to Yahweh by Shemel Shai. So that's why it says, but he shall be saved out of it, because the elect are going to be preserved. But going on, breaking down the part where the Eve got dismembered by the T-Rex, because again we understand that Esau's going to come in, and slay Israelites left and right, and that's he started with the jab, that being the forerunner, depopulation. They call it a freaking conspiracy theory, which is total bull. But that's just an example of the many things that could come, because he's already talking about if I'm not mistaken, police department's approval of robotic forces to basically kill, because they don't want to put no fault on another officer, and because he got so many people, so many officers on leave right now, and they're in constant backlash from the population. That's where you have the riots and all that stuff. So that's why Esau be talking about coming in with robotic forces, and you already seen various clips where you have robots. So again, that so also to add on, that T-Rex could also be a referring to robotic forces. Because Esau's using robots that resemble animals, to bring about certain judgment. He's got the robot dogs. Yeah, that one sword industries, they came out with the robot dog with the mounted turret. So things are speeding up. But I wanted to get a quick piece of that. And best believe, it won't go well with Drake, when those robot forces come. But this is the book of 2nd into the 16th chapter, verse 23, or 22, starting with verse 22, it says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. All right, so it's going into Jacob's trouble, man. A period of, a so-called apocalypse, a period of disaster, which, as a matter of fact, apocalypse is a true term, because in the Spanish, revelation would be apocalypse, and that's also in the Greek. Apocalypsis is the Greek word for apocalypse or revelation. But it goes in the same verse 23, and it's like verse 22. It said, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So that's going into the highly advanced technology he's going to come out with. Whether, which is going to be his weaponry, or his robotic forces and things of that sort. He's already developing these high-tech lasers, with the whole Space Force crap and all that. But anyways, what it says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So it's gonna be basically a common sight to see those bodies being dropped, man. And in the dream, when the T-Rex beat out the Eve, I was literally crawling through a passageway, crawling through, and touching, the pieces, which I really didn't care. I wasn't disgusted because all I cared about was fleeing. But going back, it says, I'm going to get a last precept down in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, verse 12. And it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. Woe meaning death and destruction again. And that's going to come upon the face of the planet Earth, upon everybody. That so-called rapture where you guys are going to come out, supposedly get beamed up, to be preserved from any of the said perils. That's all bullshit, man. It's just going to how we all have to go through. Hey, how I made the mention, he that endureth unto the end. He endured meaning to patiently suffer. We have to all go through the perils. Whether you're spirit world or you're still here. Or you're just waiting for the destruction, the ICBM. Whether you're just missile food, so we all have to go through the perils. The elect do too. Hey, the Heavenly Father, through the angel, was speaking to Ezra about that, saying, blessed is he that remains, or that is left behind, or they paraphrasing right there. Because we all got to go through the travail, we all got to go through these perils. So again, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, Esau has come down unto you, having great wrath, great wrath, because he knoweth they have but a short time. But I'm gonna end it off right there. Hopefully, this dream was, interesting and edifying. And to the next one, I say shalom.